Namaskar everyone. I thank TEDx Youth Global School to have invited me here today. It's lovely to be back. As you were told, I just showcased you a story which I created specially for all of you, of a deer and of an elephant who were great friends, both with different personalities though. One with an artist's mind, one with a prisoner's mind. But I will speak more about that later. You might be wondering, who is this person standing here talking to us? Doesn't look like a dancer. Because many people, when the word dancer comes, they think of a beautiful female who's done with elaborate jewelry, makeup, costumes, so on and so forth. And here I am, a man standing and talking. So I have decided not to talk about dance today, but about fear and failure. I'm sure some of you might be surprised. Why fear and failure? Well, very early on in our life, we are afraid of a lot of things. In fact, the reason that people are afraid to be an artist has very deep roots. Let me give you a few examples. In school, for example, we fear that we will fail an exam. We fear that we might not be able to make friends. Later on, we fear that we might not be able to enter an Ivy League college and make big in one's career, so on and so forth. But my question is, with such intense of fear, why don't we prepare for it then? Again, me being the crazy artist that I am, I then wonder if failing is all that bad also. Because, again, take a look at these examples. Thomas Edison took 1,000 tries to make the light bulb. Upon being asked by a reporter, how did he feel to fail 1,000 times? He said, I did not fail 1,000 times, it took me 1,000 steps to make the light bulb. Walt Disney was initially rejected to make Disneyland. Henry Ford went broke 5 times before he could establish his empire. Van Gogh sold only one painting during his lifetime. And even J.K. Rowling, I know some of you are Harry Potter fans, she failed and was rejected 12 times before she could finally publish Harry Potter. Now, with such examples at hand, I genuinely wonder if failing is all that bad. And if to fail is not bad, then where does this notion of it being absolutely unacceptable and evil and you cannot fail, that's not an option, where does this idea come from? The society that we live in today is obsessed with the idea of uniformity. Homogeneity is perfection, rest all is trash. A nail that sticks out is hammered down is a famous proverb which is used in many cultures across the globe to then again establish the idea of conformity. The issue runs even deeper. When I was growing up, for 10 years I lived in a small city like Kanpur. My school, you all are lucky, did not have an art department. The only option I had were to choose either science or commerce. So I asked my principal, why is that so? She was a formidable leader and a great educationist. She revealed to me that the parents themselves did not want their kids to study art, and hence the school could not afford an art department. The message was quite clear that in the middle class background families from which I belong to, it was all about functionality. Creativity had no space. Any idea of creativity was struck down because the only way to get a good life, to get a stable employment, was to have a great degree. From the early 50s onwards, this idea seeped into our society and people started working towards getting a traditional education to get a solid degree and then to get a secure job, and then, slowly and steadily the cash will start coming in, money will come in, and whether we agree publicly, accept it, but in the hearts of our hearts, so many people think money is happiness. So in this rush to earn more money, to settle down, people started forgetting their creativities. And even the education system back then at least was preparing us for what the world wanted. Glorified factory workers. Whether we were working at the level of a CEO or even a bank clerk, we were not given an option to fail, to try something new, to dust ourselves off and then try again if it doesn't work out. Similarly, again I remember in college, a friend of mine was penalized to have arrived at an answer correctly. Seems so strange, right? The professor reasoned that because she had used a formula which was not prescribed in the syllabus, that she was punished. This being punished for being different, even if you're right, has left a deep impact on the current generation. Everybody is very afraid. So again, moving on to this being afraid. Till the 90s and even early 2000, a solid degree was the only option to get a job. Now suddenly, with all of you here, we have a generation who is full of YouTubers, Instagrammers, influencers. They're all earning in millions. They don't have any education and such. Forget that. Look at the pandemic that we all came through. The world saw economic meltdown like never before. So many people with stable income, stable job, lost it. Now suddenly it means that if you have a degree, you might or might not get a job. So then what? In 2020s, if you are being educated in a school, it is absolutely necessary, yes, because traditional education evolves you into a holistic human being in how to interact with other people, how to discipline yourself, how to behave. But in this day and age, if you do not have an artist's mind, then it will be an uphill struggle for you. Now, what is an artist's mind? It is not that you have to be an artist. Let me explain. Look at these YouTubers and Instagrammers. They are not educated in their most academic sensibilities. They don't have PhDs from Harvard and stuff. They're extremely creative. They're extremely innovative. And this innovation, this innovative mind is something that all leaders and all entrepreneurs worldwide have. Because at the end, what does the society want from you? To have a betterment in the living situation that the world exists in. Be it medical, be it environmental, artistic, financial, moral, anyway. If you are an employee of a huge MNC, or a dancer, or a mechanic, until you add value to the society, you will not be valued. Now, how do you add value to the society? Innovation. Innovation, trying new things, working ways out, developing an idea, developing a product, which in turn helps people, is the way. And that can't be done. Things can't be created until you try and test and maybe fail. Again, I speak from my own experience. I just innovated, I just created this story for you out of thin air, out of my own imagination, of a deer, of an elephant. The deer was a human with an artist's mind. The elephant was a very seedha, no-nonsense person. They both were walking towards their goals. They both knew what they wanted in life. But while walking towards it, the deer was enjoying life. He was smelling the flowers. He was hearing the bees buzz. He was tasting the ripe fruits. Elephant being the seedha person, the no-nonsense person, he was just walking in, focused on his goal. Both arrive at their destination when the rain comes and they're able to quench their thirst. But therein lies the difference. To enjoy one's life, to enjoy one's failure, one has to take the path less taken. And if you do take the path much taken, then the results are mostly known. There is no space to try new things, to create something new, and it might get a little boring. So, the deer with an artist's mind, he is enjoying his life, while the elephant has a prisoner's mentality. Prisoner to what? Prisoner to the rules and regulations of the society and to his own insecurities. moving on, I again will tell you from my own personal experience, it takes immense courage for me to be a dancer because nothing is laid out. I have taken a path which is less traveled, and that means that I get the opportunity to explore new things, to make things work out, to have things my way, to create something for the world to see. And even after all these years, I'm still asked, do you make a living? Well, my parents also asked that same thing, although they were fabulously liberal and open-minded at that time, because I had gotten some of the best education both in India and abroad, and I said I want to be a dancer. So they said, will you be able to make a living? I said, maybe, I'll see about it. And at that point, my mother told me, you do what you want to do, be what you want to be, but do it and be it on your own time. Don't take us as your safety nets. And with that kind of education that I got from my parents, from my teachers, in fact, from school also, the psyche developed that I had to study really hard, study my art so well that and again, I'm going to quote my guru, Sharon Lowenji. She always says, you can be an average engineer, you can live a life, but you can't be an average artist. You have to be the topmost artist if you have to gain success. Again, coming back to the story of a deer, of an elephant, I take immense inspiration from somebody to the likes of Audrey Hepburn. I'm sure most of you know about her. She was an actress of her yesteryears, an actress, a dancer, a fashion icon. She had everything. At 24, mere 24, she won her first Oscar for The Roman Holiday. In fact, she remains one of the only 16 people in the globe, worldwide, to have received not just an Oscar, but a Tony, an Emmy, and a Grammy, all in their lifetime. Now, with all this success, all this money, all this fame, glamour, what does she do? Imagine. At the peak of her career, and remember, at the peak of her career, not during her retirement, she chose to quit all of that and join UNICEF as the ambassador. She traveled worldwide and became a voice for some of the poorest countries and the kids who were hunger stricken. Isn't that a life worth living? Again, coming back to the dance being an artist, like Audrey Hepburn, me, any artist, we do make a living, we might achieve a certain financial success, yes or no, but you can have a comfortable life. You do earn money, money comes, but with excess money, what will you do? You'll buy a new house, you'll buy a better house, a better house, a better house. Is that what life is all about? Look at these people, what they're doing. They know what their goals are, they're very focused on it, and once they achieve it, then they move on to help others. Today's youth need to challenge the status quo, break this prisoner's mentality that you have put yourself into knowingly, unknowingly, have an artist's mind. You be what you want to be. Become a chartered accountant, become a lawyer, become a businessman, be the CEO, earn as much money as you want. But with an artist's mind, which means that create new things, develop new ideas, help others, and always innovate in how you can better things for others and for yourself. Be the deer, guide your elephant friends to live a life full of happiness and contentment. Thank you.